Nearly 90% of first-time homestead gardens fail, and it's almost never bad weather or bad luck. It's because beginners skip the boring steps and jump straight to the fun part, buying seeds before they know what's in their soil, building beds in the exact wrong spot. Today, we're doing it the right way. The exact step-by-step process from dead dirt to your first harvest in chronological order. Skip a single step, you're just burying your money in the dirt. Step 1 starts right now. Step 1. Test your soil. Your soil has a pH level. If it's too acidic or too alkaline, your plants physically cannot absorb nutrients, even if those nutrients are sitting right there in the dirt. You could dump the most expensive fertilizer money can buy on soil with a pH of 5.0, and your tomatoes would still sit there, yellow, stunted, doing nothing. The ideal pH for most vegetables is 6.0 to 7.0. You have no way of knowing where your soil sits without testing it. Here's what you do. Grab a shovel. Dig 6 to 8 inches down in 5 or 6 different spots across your planned garden area. Mix all those samples together in a clean bucket. Let it air dry for a day. Bag it up and send it to your local county extension office. Most states offer this for free or under $20. You'll get back a full report. pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, organic matter content, soil texture, and specific recommendations for what to add and how much. A home test kit from a garden center costs $10 to $15 and gives you a rough idea, but the extension office test is more accurate, more detailed, and often cheaper. There's no reason not to do it. This one step, 15 minutes of digging, and a $15 test will save you an entire season of guessing, wasting money on amendments you don't need, and wondering why nothing is growing. Your report is back. You know exactly what your soil needs. Step 2. You fix it. Step 2. Amend your soil. Your soil test gave you numbers. Now you turn those numbers into action. If your pH is too low, meaning your soil is too acidic, you add garden lime. How much depends on your specific numbers and soil type. Your test report will tell you the exact amount. Don't guess. If your pH is too high, too alkaline, you add elemental sulfur. Same rule. Follow the report. pH adjustments take time. Lime and sulfur can both take 2 to 3 months to fully change your soil's pH. This is why testing in fall for a spring garden is ideal. If you're testing in spring, you're already behind, but it's still better than not testing at all. Now, nutrients. The big three are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the NPK numbers you see on every fertilizer bag. Your report tells you which ones are low and which ones are fine. Add only what's missing. Over-fertilizing is just as damaging as under-fertilizing. Too much nitrogen and your plants grow tons of leaves but no fruit. Too much phosphorus can lock out other nutrients entirely. For almost every soil problem, the single best amendment is compost. Work 2 to 3 inches of quality compost into the top 6 to 8 inches of your soil. Compost improves drainage in clay soil. It improves water retention in sandy soil. It adds organic matter, feeds beneficial microbes, and slowly releases nutrients throughout the growing season. If you're only going to buy one thing for your garden, make it compost. Your soil is fixed. Now, where exactly are you putting this garden? Step 3. Choose your site. Sunlight is the single biggest factor that determines whether your garden produces food or just takes up space. Most vegetables need a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day, not dappled shade through trees, not morning sun with afternoon shadow. Direct, unobstructed sunlight for 6 to 8 hours. Tomatoes, peppers, squash, beans, all of them need full sun. Anything less and your yields drop dramatically. Before you commit to a spot, watch it for a full day. Note where shadows fall in the morning, at noon, and in the late afternoon. Trees, buildings, fences, anything that casts a shadow could be cutting your light below the minimum without you realizing it. After sunlight, think water access. Your garden needs consistent watering, especially in summer. If the nearest hose connection is 200 feet away, you're going to hate your garden by July. Put it close to a water source. Drainage matters too. Avoid low spots where water collects in pools after rain. Waterlogged roots rot. A gentle slope with good drainage is ideal. Flat ground works fine as long as it doesn't hold standing water. One more thing most people forget. Access. You'll be walking to this garden every single day carrying tools, watering cans, wheelbarrows full of compost, and buckets of harvest. Don't put it in the far corner of your property if you have a better option closer to your house. Mark your chosen spot with stakes and rope. Live with it for a few days. Make sure you're happy with the light, the access, and the drainage before you build anything permanent. You've got your spot. Now, how are you building it? Step 4. Build your garden beds. You have 3 options: in-ground, raised beds, or containers. Each one works. The right choice depends on your soil, your space, and your budget. In-ground is the simplest and cheapest. You clear the grass and weeds, either by hand, with a sod cutter, or by smothering with cardboard and mulch over winter. Then you amend the existing soil with compost and plant directly into the ground. If your native soil tested reasonably well in step 1, this is all you need. Total cost, nearly zero beyond the compost. Raised beds are the most popular option for homesteaders, and for good reason. The standard size is 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, wide enough to reach the center from either side without stepping on the soil, which prevents compaction. Cedar is the gold standard, naturally rot-resistant, and lasts 10 to 15 years. If you're on a budget and go with modern pressure-treated wood, line the inside with heavy plastic sheeting just to be safe. Cedar gives you absolute peace of mind without any debate. Fill raised beds with a mix of topsoil, compost, and worm castings. The soil in raised beds warms up faster in spring than in-ground soil, which means you can plant 2 to 3 weeks earlier. They also drain better, which is a huge advantage in areas with heavy clay or wet conditions. Cost for one 4x8 raised bed, $50 to $150 for lumber and hardware, plus $50 to $100 for soil and compost, but only if you buy in bulk by the truckload from a local landscape supplier. Buying individual bags at a hardware store will easily double or triple that number. Containers work for anyone without yard space. Patios, balconies, driveways. Use at least a 5-gallon container for tomatoes or peppers. Smaller pots work for herbs and lettuce. Containers dry out faster than beds, so you'll water more often. But they're portable, cheap to start, and you can grow a surprising amount of food in a few square feet. One rule, regardless of which method you choose, never walk on your growing soil. Compacted soil chokes roots, reduces drainage, and makes plants work harder for less. Build pathways between beds and stay off the planting area. Beds are built, soil is in. Now the question every beginner agonizes over: what do you actually plant? Step 5. Choose your crops. Before you buy a single seed packet, you need one number: your last frost date. Google your city name plus last frost date. If you're in a hot climate with no real frost, search for your area's planting calendar instead. That one number tells you when your growing season starts and ends, and it controls the timing of everything you plant. Crops split into 2 categories: cool season and warm season. Cool season crops, lettuce, kale, spinach, peas, radishes, can handle light frost and go into the ground 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. Warm season crops, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, squash, beans, die at the first touch of frost and don't go out until nights are consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. For your first year, keep it tight. 4 to 6 varieties maximum. You're learning your soil, your sunlight, your water schedule, and your pest pressure all at the same time. Adding 15 different crops to that equation is a recipe for overwhelm and failure. The beginner-proof picks: lettuce, radishes, green beans, zucchini, and herbs like basil or cilantro. These are genuinely hard to kill. They grow fast, produce heavily, and forgive most beginner mistakes. Tomatoes and peppers are slightly more demanding, but absolutely doable in year 1 if you buy them as transplants instead of starting from seed. What to avoid your first season? Corn needs massive space for pollination. Melons need a long, hot season and sprawl everywhere. And cauliflower is so temperamental that experienced gardeners still struggle with it. One layout rule: tall plants go on the north side of your garden so they don't shade everything shorter. Sprawling plants like squash and cucumbers go on the edges where they can spread without choking your other crops. You know what you're planting. Now, seeds or seedlings? Step 6. Seeds or transplants. This is simpler than most people make it. Some crops must be planted as seeds directly into the soil. Carrots, radishes, beets, beans, and peas. These don't like having their roots disturbed. You sow them straight into the ground where they'll grow. No transplanting, no indoor starting, just seed into soil, water, and wait. Other crops, tomatoes, peppers, herbs, eggplant, benefit massively from being started indoors 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date. This gives them a head start so they're already strong, established plants by the time warm weather arrives. If you don't want to deal with indoor seed starting in your first year, just buy transplants from a local nursery. A healthy tomato start from a garden center is $4 to $5 and saves you 8 weeks of work. There's no shame in it. Most experienced gardeners still buy transplants for certain crops. If you do want to start seeds indoors, you need 3 things: seed starting trays with drainage, a sterile seed starting mix, and light. A sunny south-facing window works. A basic $30 grow light works better. Here's the math that makes seed starting worth it long term. One packet of 50 tomato seeds costs $3. 50 nursery transplants would cost you $200 to $250. You're not planting 50 tomatoes your first year, but you get the point. Once you're comfortable with the process, seed starting is one of the biggest money savers in gardening. Seeds are in the ground. Seedlings are planted. Now the part that kills more beginner gardens than pests, weeds, and bad weather combined. Step 7. Watering. Overwatering kills more gardens than drought does. Beginners see a hot day, panic, and flood their beds every afternoon. The roots sit in waterlogged soil. Oxygen gets cut off, and the plant slowly drowns from the bottom up. The test is dead simple. Push your finger 2 inches into the soil near the base of a plant. Still moist? Walk away. Do not water. Dry? Water deeply and slowly at the base, not over the leaves. Wet leaves invite fungal disease. Water in the morning. Most vegetable gardens need roughly 1 inch per week. 1 deep soak is far better than 7 shallow sprinkles. Deep watering pushes roots downward, making plants stronger and more drought-resistant. Shallow watering keeps roots near the surface where they're vulnerable. Best investment for a new gardener: a soaker hose on a basic timer. Consistent, efficient, hands-free. And if you're using raised beds, check moisture more often in summer. They dry out faster than in-ground gardens. Plants are hydrated. Now you feed them. Step 8. Fertilizing. If you amended your soil properly in Step 2, your plants have a solid nutritional foundation. But vegetables are heavy feeders. Once they start flowering and producing fruit, they burn through nutrients fast. Mid-season, add a 1-inch layer of compost around the base of your plants. This is called top dressing. It slowly feeds the soil as it breaks down, and it doubles as a light mulch that retains moisture. For an extra boost during peak growing season, apply an organic liquid fertilizer every 1 to 2 weeks. Fish emulsion and seaweed extract are 2 of the most popular options. They're gentle, effective, and almost impossible to overdo. Know what your plants actually need. Leafy crops like lettuce, kale, and spinach are nitrogen hungry. They want to grow leaves, so feed them accordingly. Fruiting crops like tomatoes, peppers, and squash need more phosphorus once they start flowering. That's what drives fruit production. Potassium supports overall plant health and disease resistance across the board. The one rule that applies to every fertilizer: follow the instructions on the package. More is not better. Over-fertilizing causes nutrient burn, excessive leaf growth with no fruit, and can damage the soil biology you've been building since Step 2. Plants are fed and growing, but something else has noticed your garden. Step 9. Pest and weed management. Weeds and pests are not a matter of if, they're a matter of when. The goal isn't elimination, it's management. Weeds first. Your best weapon is mulch. Lay 2 to 3 inches of straw, wood chips, or shredded leaves around your plants. Mulch blocks sunlight from reaching weed seeds, retains moisture, and regulates soil temperature. 3 jobs at once. When weeds do appear, pull them small. A 2-inch weed takes 3 seconds. A 12-inch weed with an established root system takes a shovel and 5 minutes of swearing. Never let weeds go to seed. Pests. Inspect your plants every visit. Flip leaves over. Check stems. Early detection is everything. For small gardens, hand-picking works best. Caterpillars and beetles into soapy water. For slugs, bury a shallow cup of cheap beer in the soil. They dive in and don't come out. Companion planting helps reduce pressure. Basil near tomatoes. Marigolds for aphids. Neem oil spray is an effective organic broad-spectrum option for most common pests. One rule: never spray it in the middle of the day. Oil plus direct sunlight will literally fry your leaves. Spray in the late evening. Row covers create a physical barrier that keeps insects off entirely, while still letting light and water through. One mindset shift: some damage is normal. A few holes in your lettuce is not a crisis. You're growing food, not entering a beauty contest. You've planted, watered, fed, and defended. Now the part you actually started this for. Step 10. Harvesting. This is where most beginners make their last mistake. They wait too long. Pick early and pick often. Most vegetable plants produce more when you harvest regularly. Leaving ripe fruit on the vine signals the plant to slow down. The more you pick, the more it grows. Lettuce. Don't pull the whole plant. Harvest outer leaves at 4 to 6 inches, and the plant keeps producing from the center for weeks. Zucchini. Pick at 6 to 8 inches. Walk away for 3 days, and that 6-inch zucchini becomes an 18-inch baseball bat that tastes like nothing. Check every 2 days. Tomatoes. Harvest when fully colored and slightly soft to the touch. They'll finish ripening on your counter, out of direct sunlight. Don't put them on a hot windowsill, or they'll bake from the inside out. Green beans. Pick when pencil thin and they snap cleanly. Once seeds bulge inside the pod, you've waited too long. Herbs. Cut just above a leaf node to encourage bushy growth. If you let herbs flower, leaves lose flavor. Keep cutting, keep using. Best time to harvest: early morning when plants are fully hydrated. Vegetables picked in the morning are crisper, store longer, and taste noticeably better than those picked in afternoon heat. That's the entire process. 10 steps. Dead dirt to first harvest. Test your soil. Amend it. Pick the right spot. Build your beds. Choose your crops. Get them in the ground at the right time. Water properly. Feed mid-season. Manage weeds and pests. And harvest early and often. After your first season, the cycle starts over. But everything gets easier. You already know your soil. You know your sunlight. You know which crops worked and which didn't. Save seeds from your best producers. Add compost at the end of the season. And test your soil again in 3 to 4 years. Year 1 is the hardest. Year 2 is where it clicks.